So, hello together to this video in which I will show you how to make a sling with a method which I call twining over sticks. We will make Egyptian style slings, however I have to tell you that we will just make lookalikes and not exact replicas. I will mainly borrow design elements from slings excavated in Lahoun, two of these to be precise, currently in Manchester and in London in museums. I will borrow design elements from these slings, but will otherwise go just freestyle. For those interested in a more exact replica or more detailed reproductions and the background, including all the sources, I will leave a link or several links in the description where you can read the things up. So we're going to make a sling like this one here. For this we will start with the materials. You will of course need some string as well as some sticks. I'm using here just normal barbecue sticks, which are about 2 millimeters thick, if I remember correctly, about 3 millimeters thick. Important when choosing the strings and the sticks is that the sticks and the string match to each other. The sticks must be about 2 to 3 times larger in diameter than the string. So this here is linen string and 1.2 millimeters thickness. So the first thing is you might want to prepare your sticks just by making a notch in the top. You do this with all sticks. Here I have chosen 25 sticks in total. This will define the overall length or the final length like this of the sling. I just know from experience that 25 sticks will give a good length. Scissors and needles we will put currently away. Okay, once you have made all the notches in all the sticks, which I've already done here, you can start with the string. To start with the string, you first want to measure out some lengths of string, 6 to be precise, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These will form your release and retention cords, so make them long enough. Here I have chosen about 4 meters length for each string. Then tie a knot in the middle, like this one, and you're set. 4 meters should be plenty, but it will depend how long you want your sling and how you want to make your tension and release cord. So you might have to experiment a little bit. Okay, then we can already start with the sticks. You start by taking 2 of the strings out and the other 4 you will leave on the side. Insert 1 stick and then you start twining. Important is if you pay attention where I put the pointy end and the end of the notch. I always alternate these. Now pointy end here and the first one was over here. And then you start with twining. You continue this twining until you have all of your sticks in there. Good. Now I have twined all sticks together, they will lay flat, and now I just make a slip knot here to keep them in place. Like this here. Okay, now we start the main body of the sling. For this it's useful if you have 2 spools of string. This will simplify the work a little bit. You start by knotting the 2 strings together just with a slip knot for ease of use. Be careful to leave some space or some spare string at the end. Okay, and now we start twining again. You first bring the sticks or align the sticks at one end. This will help you while working a bit. So, now when twining, it's important that you don't twine super tight, otherwise you will run into problems later on. It's absolutely sufficient to have them somewhat taut. You might find other working positions more comfortable than over a table like this. So you insert the knotted ends like this, and then you start twining. Take one, put it over. Take the next one, put it over the next stick, and so on. So I work somewhat tight, but not super tight. And usually I hold things a little bit different than here, so it's actually a little bit awkward to work like this. You see that we will make a bit of a mess in the end, but that's not important. Like a mess down here, you will twine or twist these two together. So, now we arrived at one end. Now we need to make the turn. There are different ways to make this turn. I usually just something like this here. It doesn't matter how you make it. And now we reverse the whole thing. Important, when you work in reverse, you inverse the twist direction. So you actually untwist all the mess you just made, which is convenient when working. Also, don't leave these here too long. These are actually already a bit on the longer side. The shorter you keep it, the easier it will be for you to work. Instead of sticks, you can also take drinking straws if you're more into plastics. I usually go for the wood option. Okay, now we reached one end, and now we already start decreasing the width of the sling. I won't go over this one here, but just over the second one. And now I make the turn. And twine on. And now you just continue this until you have reached about the half of the width of the sling, or of the pouch to be precise. Depending on what stones you will use, you can make it broader or more narrow. Okay, and now I reach the other side. So now I went over this one, this stick here, this last one. So now I'll just go over this one as the last stick. And continue twining. Depending on your string, you might find skipping more or less sticks an option, like instead of going always one further down with each round, you might find skipping two more convenient for you, or actually pass twice over the same stick before decreasing one further down. Especially working with thin strings, you might have to do 2 rounds before decreasing one stick. Again, this here doesn't have to be super tight. We will compact it afterwards. If you twine too tight, you will run into issues later on. So it's better to go a bit loose. If you go too loose, of course, you will lose the sticks. So now I'm running a bit out of sticks here, so just pull them out slightly. If you twine not too tight, this will go easy. If you have troubles pulling your sticks out, you twine it too tightly. So let me quickly count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so we need to decrease a little bit more, but not for much longer. From experience, I know that here I best twine down to about 9 sticks left. And then I'm about in the middle of the pouch. This will give a good width for the stones I'm shooting. In centimeters, that would be maybe about 3 centimeters. As we will compact it, finished pouch will be about 2 times 3 and a little bit shorter, so about 6 centimeters. Yeah, I'm actually already a bit too wide for my liking. So I will finish this here. So I might have to compact a bit more in the end to get not be too wide. Good. And now we already arrived in the middle of the pouch, which means we can go for the next 2 strings. So from the long strings we cut out in the beginning, we'll take another 2. And now I just have to grab them, which I'm going to insert in the middle of the pouch by twining. This is a design element you can find, for example, in Saudi Arabian slings. Okay. I usually make a slip knot on top, just to keep it somewhat tidy. And before I do that, I'm going to pull out the sticks a little bit more. I recommend to never decrease all the way to the middle, then the pouch will be cupped, and the cup can be actually too deep for you to comfortably use. So, and now we twine in the retention release cord in the middle ones, or two strings of retention release cord. Good. Now we get to the two cords. So this is tension release cord, and these are the other two which we used for twining. And these we can just take over by basically doing this one here. So quickly going to lift this through, and now we can twine down. Continue with tension release cord twining. So okay, so this is about half of the pouch already, which took me about 10 minutes now to make half of the pouch. We have a retention release cord going through like this. This is the body of the pouch halfway in, and now we continue twining on this side here and go larger again. For this, return to these two here, and I start twining. And I take these two down here again, and I make a little knot here just to keep things tidy. Okay, now I want to make it symmetric, so I turn right here. And now we increase one, so we're going to one up. I realize I'm not working super even, but it will do for the moment. So you see that I'm working a little bit asymmetric. This is mainly due because I'm not used to work like this. I usually hold it in my hand while sitting on a bag, and then I'm able to keep it a bit more closely. We have a slight twist in the piece, which is not good, but also not super dramatic. So I should have held the sticks a bit more parallel, but this will be easier when you have it on your lap and not leaning over a table like I am at the moment. The sling will still be perfectly usable. Will look a little bit more ugly than I'm used to, but oh well. Okay, and that's it. We're about done. So you see it doesn't lie perfectly flat. That's because I held it like this. I usually work a little bit different, but that's okay. Okay, now we leave the space and just cut the strings. Make a slip knot to keep it in place. Okay, now we have to braid in the last two tension release cords. So which are these two here? Again, make a slip knot up here, and now I twine it in. So the sling is actually quite wide, a bit wider than what I like to have. Oh well, I'm just going to compact it a bit more in the end. You can somewhat adjust the width by how much you compact it. So, and now we're done with the twining part. So again, slip knot to keep things in place. Okay, now the fun part begins, replacing the sticks. So first thing I'll do, I'll bring the sticks a bit more in the middle. So, yeah, that's a bit tilted, as I already said multiple times. We'll see, it will be alright. Okay, next step, replacing sticks. You will need a needle. Picking a needle, of course, the eye has to be large enough so that your string will fit through. Also, I recommend a not too pointy needle. It's easier if the needle is not too pointy. If you have a bag needle like this here, that can also be quite useful. But I usually work with these here. You'll see what you like best. So you start by measuring out some string. You need at least 25 times this width times 2, or you can just take a lot of string. I'll do it arbitrary. I'll produce a bit of waste. So now I cut the string and then I half it in the middle and find the middle. Oop, and here we are. A little slip knot to mark the middle. Okay. Now you take one end of the string, put your needle through, or put the string through your needle, and that's a hair, like this here. And now we start replacing the sticks. So, and for this exactly we made the notches. So we can actually stick the needle in here, then slide it in. And now the stick will actually clamp the needle down. And in the best case, you can just pull it completely through which didn't work here, without losing anything. So, and the first stick is replaced. And now I pull everything through. First, if you don't get tangled up in your remaining sticks, until I reach the middle knot. And exactly for this reason we marked it with a slip knot. Good. Now we do the same thing over here. Put the needle in the gap that you made, pull it through, and continue. So, and the second stick replaced. Important, don't pull it tight. We will do this in a later step. Just leave some little eyelets here. Or eyes, or whatever, loops, whatever you would like to call it. So, next stick. It's worth to be a bit slow here at this step, and be a bit careful. So, nearly lost it, but just managed through. And leave a little eyelet. Good. If you twine too tightly, this step here can be quite painful to do. Also, if your string is too thick, like compared to the width of your stick, you'll run into troubles. So if you have difficulties with this step, choose larger sticks or thinner string to pull through, or twine less tightly. It's your choice in the end. So. Now I lost the needle in the middle of the piece. This is not a problem, you just pull it through like this. And now I can also just follow the stick with the needle. And only a couple sticks left. So I'll quickly take it out. Oh, and now I dropped two. This is also another problem. I just take them up again, and I follow the stick through. Good. As you see, I caught them again, so no mistake in the braid or in the in the twine structure, to be precise. And nearly done. Oops, made a mistake here. Pulled out too fast. This is also not a problem. I just take it up like this. And here we go. And the last ones. The last ones can be a bit tricky to keep everything nicely in place. I will walk away a bit, but this is quite easily fixed. So it looks like my judgment of how much string I need was actually quite good, as I'm just running out. Okay, that was most of it. Now I will put in a counter-propagating weft. For this we start something in the middle, so open the knot and take the string ready through the needle. And now what we're going to do is we follow the thread here back through, and we pay attention to not pierce anything like the string which we already put through. This is actually quite important, because otherwise the next step won't work. Okay. So and here we go. As you see, I twined quite loosely, and now this step is actually easy, as the string is thin enough. With thick string, this would now be quite difficult to do. And the next one through here. So now you see why a blunt needle works better than a pointy needle. For a pointy needle you would pick up more of the strings, or pierce more through the strings. And with a blunt needle it's actually quite an easy step. This doubling up is in principle not that necessary. One could also skip it. However, the allowance slings, I think, if I remember correctly, both of them are done with counter-propagating wefts. Or, actually it's wrong to call these wefts counter-propagating strings. So I'll just use counter-propagating ones as well. Now you see it's quite loose, so I can just go with the needle half into the piece and then come out and continue without issues. If you twine tightly, this is going to be quite a hassle. Okay, so we're done here with pulling the second string through, and now we can start tightening the the two strings we just pulled in. I'm just going to remake these knots here to keep things a bit tidy. Okay, so now this step can be a bit tricky if you're not used to making this. My recommendation is to just go slowly, tighten step by step, not too much in one pass. So for tightening, I just pull it in a little bit, just to pre-compact it a little bit. Okay. And now we start tightening from top to bottom. Pick this one here and the reverse. So I'm now tightening the first loop. For this I just tighten, and now I tug slightly, not too much. Now I take the second loop that stands out, just this one here, and the same for the other side, for left. So, and again I'm going to just tug slightly, and so we go on and on. Like this, and now just tug a little bit. Depending how tight you want your sling, you can tug more or less. So you have a good eyes, you can see that the pouch slightly turns like this here. This is due that I did not work with completely even tension while twining on the sticks, as I mentioned previously. However, this amount of turning shouldn't matter that much. It just doesn't look that nice, but it will be usable. Okay, now we're done with tightening the pouch. Now I can undo all of these knots here if I want. So these here will form retention release cord, and these here we just have to knot off or tie off. Tying off, you can do this in any way you want. For example, what you can do is just tie an overhead knot here and the second one on top. And these two we will use later on for wrapping here. Okay, and now it's remaining to make retention release cord. You can do this in any way you want. You can twist it, you can make a braid, really anything you desire. Twisting, well, that's a bit awkward here now, but twisting will work. For example, like this here. There are plenty of videos online to show you rope making, so I'll cut here now and then come back once I have done the retention and release cord. So after you have made your retention and release cord, there is one step remaining to do, which is making the wrappings here at the pouch. There are different ways to make this wrapping. First one is obviously just to wrap it around, for example like this. One goes in one direction, the other one goes in the other direction, and then you just alternate these two until you have achieved a sufficient length, and then you can tie it off with a knot. And then just tie it off. Another option would be to do whippings or hitching, which I will show you here. It's a bit more elaborate, but will yield a nice result. Which means you go under and then you make a knot. And with the other one you can go, for example, in the other direction. It doesn't matter too much. And now you can just tie it off again, or if you want to go fancy you can also pull it into the cord here or back under the ends, but I will, for simplicity, I'll just tie it off. And now cut it off. So, and here you go. An Egyptian style sling. Okay, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I will leave some links in the description in case you want to make more accurate replica than this lookalike here. And enjoy slinging!